Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch. This is our community of awesomeness. Tonight's topic, I'm just freestyling it. Whatever any of you want to ask about, that's going to be our topic. Yes, it's going to be focused on how to be awesome, be strong, to feel good, deal with issues in your life. But yeah, it's open to all of us to talk about what we want. And anyone out there on the live stream, if you write in any of the chats, hopefully they'll show up for me, and you can also be part of our session. So I'll try to respond to anything and everything you've got to say. So I'm going to ring the bell. We're going to make our way into the temple and take it from there. So let's all line up, guys, and let's go. So as you enter, I just invite you to make this a special moment. Find the strength and the peace inside you, ready to connect with that, grow that, and make it more awesome. And as each of us comes in, perhaps you can notice your breathing and find a sense of peace in how you're breathing. Perhaps you can notice your mind and think about feeling strong, ready to be your best, or connect with joy, or connect with peace. If you're out there on the live stream, welcome, and make this entry time just meditative, ready for you to hear, to learn, to ask. We want this session to be great for all of you. So welcome everybody. We start with a tradition. I invite everybody just to stand up, and we're just going to start with the setting of our intention. Just a moment. Why are you here? How can you make the most of this time? So if you're here for some personal well-being, I want you to set the intention that maybe there's a transformation you could make in your mind that could be epic. What if there's a shift in the way that you think or approach things that'll bring you peace or ease or happiness? Maybe a shift in perspective. Perhaps instead of just working on cultivating goodness for you, maybe if you bring into that so that you're cultivating goodness for the people around you, that your peace, your strength, your happiness, you're actually inspired to do that, to bring peace and strength to other people. Many people find that being driven by love and kindness makes it so much easier to carry that happiness. So maybe just take a few deep breaths and think about your intention. Cultivating positivity, empowerment, love and kindness, awareness, consciousness. And maybe as you focus on that intention, you can feel it more beautifully. All right, and let's all just take a seat and let's begin our session. So as many of you might have seen in the description of today's event, I want today to be fully driven by you, our community. yes, the theme is around mental empowerment, mindfulness, awareness, cultivating positivity and kindness, but it's open to anything and everything you want to talk about, whether that's questions about kinds of meditation or mental training or insights or attitudes that are helpful, whether it's, hey, how would you deal with this thing or that thing? How would you apply some of the things you've learned to this thing that's happening in your life or that thing, or how to deal with people? It's open and up to anything you want to talk about. So that's our session for today. Everyone's welcome to come in and grab a seat. Anyone who's on the live stream, please write in the chat. And I'm opening it up to all of you.
Question you could ask.
Okay, perhaps I will guide a little meditation just to give us all some thinking time to find what's important within yourself. And then we can be ready to share or ask whatever we like. If anybody's new to meditation, you can think of this meditation we're about to do as like a guided way to calm your mind and find your inner inspiration. So you just have to follow along with what I'm saying. There are other kinds of meditation, but this is what we're going to do right now. So everybody just sit comfortably. Check in with your body. Notice that as soon as I said check in with your body, you start to maybe move your body a little bit or feel it. Your attention was in your body. And then you take a deep breath and feel your body becoming more relaxed. And then you can notice your mind, how you feel, the tone of your voice, the tone of your thinking voice. And take a few breaths and let your mind and your feelings become calmer and more peaceful. And then notice how you feel now. And imagine if you were just to go so much deeper into mental calm and body relaxation. And so the next few breaths, just let yourself feel perfect peace, perfect calm. If you notice other thoughts come up in response to that, imagine if deep down every part of you was just letting go into peace, to calm, into stillness. And as we keep breathing, I'm just going to give you the question. What would really help you in your life? What would really help you in your mind? When you think about steering your mind or improving yourself, which ways would be better to understand things more clearly? Perhaps the question of what would help you be most awesome, help you feel wild and alive, or help you be your best. Or maybe some things come to mind. Some of your friendships, some situations in work or school. some feelings or attitudes or something that you're going through. And then you could imagine for this session tonight, whatever would help you most. Maybe you could imagine it's a group of helpful friends. Maybe you could imagine it's a philosophy class. Or maybe you could imagine that you've climbed a mountain to visit the most enlightened being, and you're spending time with that some part inside you. However you'd like to imagine bringing your best to tonight. We're here to support you and care for you. And so when you're ready, you can come from the meditation back into the temple. Some of you may have already thought of some questions or things you'd like to discuss. And as soon as anybody's ready, it's now open to everybody. Those of you who are outside the temple waiting to come on in, please, you're welcome. Come grab a seat. And those of you on the live stream, please feel free to ask or discuss anything. All right. So, someone get us started. Whoever's got something on mind, even if you haven't got it clear how to say it exactly, please jump in, share your thoughts or your question. Comrade Buddha?
Was wondering.
Oh, how you meant to?
Let him go first.
Oh, I didn't see Buddha over there.
It's okay, don't worry about it.
I was wondering what would be a good way to cultivate a regular practice, whether or not it's just with meditation or forming other good habits, because I have a hard time forming some habits, and other habits it's just as easy as saying I'm gonna do it and then I stick to it completely. So
You know, that's such a good question. Hey, I'm getting a little bit of lag, so those of you who've got really intense avatars, I'm going to turn them off just in case that's the reason why. But yeah, the question about how do we make a good meditation routine or any other good habit, there are many answers to that. So I'll give you some, and let's see which ones catch you, feel good for you, and then we can discuss from there people's thoughts upon them. So I think the thing that stands out for me most is that when a habit is a habit, it becomes easy and automatic. So once you've done something regularly, you naturally just feel like continuing to do it. This thing of how do you kick it up? How do you make it happen? Some habits happen naturally from our family or from our friends. Some habits happen because of some experience we have, and then we're excited to do it a lot. So I would suggest if you decide that you would like to have a certain habit, let's say it's a meditation habit, decide that for a month you're going to really overdo it. So, hey, I want to meditate every day. Set up that you're going to make a really big
Neodos, I apologize for interrupting.
Yes.
Your microphone is cutting in and out, and it's making it difficult to understand you. I don't know if it's a lag or what.
All right, thank you. Let me
Maybe turn the sensitivity up.
Yeah,
Better?
that might be it.
No.
No.
It's
Mm,
probably the lag, because I'm hearing lag when you...
Oh.
might have to turn avatars off,
lag is pretty bad.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I can hear everyone else fine, so it might be a connection issue on your side, sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if it gets better at some point.
It's a lot better now.
It is a lot better.
I wonder
Right.
if certain programs like Dropbox or other programs can like slow down your connection when they're updating and stuff.
It's possible.
All right. Well, if it's better for now, let's just go. Thanks for pointing that out. So I'm not sure how much of that you heard.
You're welcome.
But,
Thank you.
But I was saying that when a habit is really ingrained as a habit, we just naturally feel like so some of you may automatically brush your teeth every morning. You don't even think about it. You don't need to motivate yourself. It's just what you want to do. Of course you do that in the morning. Some of you getting up and going for a run just automatically. That's just what you want to do. And now the reason I'm emphasizing that as the first part of your question is to motivate that feeling of, hey, if there's a habit that I've chosen, I would really love to have that just automatically and naturally be part of my drive. And we can train a new habit by doing it a lot for some amount of time until it gets ingrained. And so if you set yourself up that I'm going to have a month where I just really go all out on training this habit. Like, not just, hey, I want to do it and I hope it becomes a habit, but like, hey, I'm committing every day. I'm going to do it. Maybe I'll have a thing where I like tick off a box on the calendar, or give myself a score on some spreadsheet, or check in with a friend every day for a month. Just the mindset of like really jumping over that first hump and all out, just training this habit into yourself can be a huge benefit. So that's the first thing that comes to mind in terms of creating a good habit in general. Some other approaches that I've seen is to start with something small. So if you wanted to have a great meditation practice, perhaps you commit to 1 minute every day, or perhaps 5 minutes every day. Maybe you put an alarm that goes off each morning or each evening, where no matter what, when the alarm happens, you'll give yourself at least that short, easy time, an amount that's easy to commit to. And after a little while, you'll be like, well, I definitely want to do a couple minutes more than that. And so you let this commitment grow. So starting with something easy can also be helpful. I mentioned it briefly, but perhaps you want to double down on the idea of having a habit buddy, someone that you'll go running with every morning, or someone you'll meditate with. Perhaps you'll practice it together every time, or maybe once a week you check in with each other and talk about all the wins and get more excited about it together. Another thing that can be really beneficial in making a habit is to hijack your mental reward system. So when you think about it, let yourself get excited about it. Wow, it's going to be really beneficial. I meditate every day. My mind will become clearer and clearer, and the changes I want to make will feel easier and easier. And the power I'll have in myself will feel awesome. Or whatever it is you wanted to improve. If it's something about exercise, get yourself excited about being energetic. If it's something around patience and kindness, think about how sweet it would feel when you're really good at it. So as well as hijacking that when you think about it, also hijack it after you're finished. So you sit there and you're like, wow, I'm grateful that I did it. And okay, maybe I meditated and wow, I had 3 moments where I felt really peaceful. That's beautiful. You know, after a meditation, I've seen some people be really critical of, oh, they weren't enlightened for the whole time. Or I've seen some people be like, oh, yeah, that was okay. But I encourage you to shape the way you think about it to feel great. Like the good moments you had, you're going to have more and more of those good moments. And maybe you had some little insights on how you steer your mind, and you're going to get better and better at that. And so that's for meditation. If it's for exercise, you think of yourself feeling more and more energized. If you're getting stronger, just think about what it's going to be like when you're way stronger. So yeah, hijacking your internal reward system. You know, hijacking might sound like, hey, you're kind of tricking it. But in reality, what I was saying is you're actually getting your reward system in alignment with the truth. Like, hey, if I do this practice, I am going to get these results. So getting your mind, your thoughts and emotions in alignment with what you're actually doing is super powerful. So there's my first thoughts in response to that. Corgomancer, I'd love to hear like if you have anything to say back, or if anyone else has any thoughts, responses, or questions. Comrade Buddha?
A good way I think I know of gaining habits is, well, habits typically you have a signifier before them. So like, you know, you get in a car, put on your seatbelt. That's how the habit, you're getting in the car, sitting down. You know,
I've heard people describe
brushing
that
your
as
teeth.
like
You go in the
trigger and a
bathroom.
response.
Yeah. So like maybe you put a sock on the floor, and then you see it in the morning, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna go meditate now, or you pillow or something. Or another way is just more directly just attach it to a habit you already have, like brushing your teeth. And then, right after you go brush your teeth, you go meditate, like every day, right after. So that, you don't need to like make this habit out of no routine you already have. You just attach it to your routine, and then it comes naturally.
Awesome. That's a great suggestion. So some people find putting a meditation cushion somewhere, so when they see it, when I see the cushion in the morning, which I'll always see because it's in the spot I see it, I sit on it. Or as soon as I wake up, that's when I run. Or straight after brushing my teeth, that's when I breathe. 100%. That's a great suggestion. As soon as I get home from work, I meditate. Or right before my meal, I have a moment of gratitude. There are so many ways that you can weave the new habits you want into the existing habits that you have. Comrade Buddha, that's a great suggestion. That reminded me of something I was thinking about saying, was that I've also found to change my self-talk changes my drive and my habits. So if I say to myself every day, I love to meditate and I meditate every day and I love training my mind and feeling amazing. If I say that in the morning and in the afternoon and before work, and I let myself imagine it and feel it, that drives my habits. But then it's a habit of practicing what you're going to say. So that's kind of why I didn't say it before, because you also need to have that of practicing the mental training you want. But yeah, if you have some kind of mental training practice, include something that drives the other habits you want to practice. And I would suggest, if there's any habit you're going to learn, I would set intentional mental training as one of the most important. because that can then drive many other positive habits. Tazimo?
Yes.
Oh, your mic's on, so I thought maybe I had to say.
Sorry about that.
Corgo, I would love to hear your thoughts about what I just said. You know, there's no point in me just saying something unless you relate to it or you feel like you could use some of it. Come on in.
I think it's all good advice. And
No jokes.
Hey, please grab a
I
seat.
am school. I'm school. I'm school. I'm school. I'm school. I'm school.
We're having a
I'm
discussion,
school. I'm school.
so please just grab a seat.
I'm in school. I'm in school.
Are you in
I
school?
just watching. Okay.
Okay, welcome. Alright, Corgo, you were saying?
it's all good advice, and part of cultivating a habit is convincing yourself that it will have benefits in the first place and that it's something worth pursuing. And, you know, I feel that, and I know that about a lot of the stuff, but I still lack drive sometimes. But I think that it's good advice, and I'll try it, and it will probably work if I can keep myself to it.
I think you made a really good point of like, hey, what is the habits you want to make and how do you really drive yourself with it and feel good about it? So being specific about it can make it a lot easier. Corgo, if you're up for it, it might be good for you to tell us what is the habit that you're thinking about, and perhaps we can make that clearer, or even spend a minute now together to do that, like mental hijacking. You know, the idea of like mentally hijacking yourself to feel good, it's just words. It doesn't actually do anything. It's like spending some time on it. So, if you're open to, I'd love to hear what's the habit you had in mind, and we can spend a bit of time right now practicing feeling good about it.
Well, there's the meditation part of it. I've been doing better at having moments where I'm more myself, but I haven't as good at having meditation practice on like sit the group, and having group energy makes it really easy to sit. But having the urge to sit by myself and meditate is something lacking for the most part, and private meditation practice really rad.
Thanks so much for sharing. If you remember, I was saying after the meditation, hijack the way you think about it to focus on all the good bits. And the being critical of the that weren't great, I've found is not helpful. So I would propose for you and for everybody, take a moment to think about your meditation practice and appreciate the ways that it has been good and appreciate the ways that have been helpful. And try to think of that just on its own, expecting or comparing to anything. Just appreciate it. Let's all just take a moment. And if you're not a meditator, if you're new here, perhaps you could think of time that you've spent on growth mindset, or time you've introspected and intentionally transformed. Appreciate the time that you've invested into yourself. And some of you, as you think about that, there's beautiful, awesome things. And I invite you to just enjoy that and feel better about it. And I invite everybody to imagine, well, if you spent more time on it, the benefits would be exponentially better. So you get the kind of peace, strength, happiness that you could cultivate. And imagine you with awesome peace, awesome clarity. And imagine if every time you think about meditation, it feels just beautiful. It's just, wow. That's going to bring me peace and happiness and awesomeness. So, Korgo, I invite you again to tell us about meditation, but this time try to describe it in a way that will just feel good for you.
I think meditation has helped me to grow a lot in ability to be mindful to move during the day, to be my emotions I end up understand. But honestly, it's changed a lot better in just the 3 months.
Uh-oh.
Lag. For
Oh,
That,
boy.
that
lag
doesn't
is bad
look
today.
Yeah.
That does not look good.
We're moving.
I was afraid this would happen with what was going on.
Mm.
The First Noble Truth of leading meditations.
Sometimes you end up turning into a pretzel. It's an unfortunate consequence.
Man, this is what true enlightenment looks like. Take notes.
Oh,
There,
it was the
This
kind
is
of-
there is no
enlightenment.
self
Huh.
right there.
That's true.
Oh, here he comes. He's back.
Hey,
He's on
Back, he's okay.
I was just asking my housemates
Frisbee.
to use less bandwidth to see if that could fix it.
Oh, okay.
Good plan.
It seems a little better. So,
Well, welcome
Korgo,
back.
I hope that describing that then felt nice, and I invite you more often to us or to your friends to try saying that and keep shaping it in a way that it feels better and clearer and more driven. And I also hope for everybody else, as you heard Korgo, you internalize more of that positive feeling towards meditation and drive. And you may have felt what he was saying, and you may also have noticed the ways you think about it in a more positive way. All right, so in terms of getting the habit, getting a really clear image around what drives you and pumping up that feeling, hijacking your drive system, hijacking your mental reward system is powerful to like drive you into it. Making the habit very clear that it triggers in certain situations or certain times of your day can be super helpful. And intentionally just driving it for a month so that it becomes automatic. I guess that's what I would like to reiterate for everybody. I feel like it's time for our next question. Comrade Buddha, you are ready with a question. Unless there's anything anyone really wants to say around habits or the power of meditation. All right, Comrade Buddha, what were you going to ask?
I guess my question would just be, how do you personally, I guess, deal with anxiety? I don't know if you had that in the past. I mean, I feel like everybody, as teenagers, gets anxiety in, their early 20s. What is a good mental, I guess, thought process you could have about it? Sort of like how, when you get angry at somebody or you feel a certain way about people negatively, you just think to yourself, well, we're all in this process of samsara, and we're all trying to just live our lives. We all have the same mindsets, and we all have egos and emotions, and sometimes we just get caught up and we don't realize that we might be hurting people, or we regret things in the future. So is there any good mental tools or I guess frameworks for dealing with your personal anxiety that you might have to share? I know it's kind of general, but...
Sorry, I'm getting a lot of lag again. Can you guys hear me?
You're
Your voice
cutting in and out.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Off to the room.
He's escaped.
Oh.
He escaped samsara. He is now one.
One as a pretzel.
So, Comrade Buddha,
go. That's full Lotus times 2.
Yes.
All becomes a pretzel.
have you
Oh,
ever
man.
watched any of Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings
No,
or read any
Jinx.
of his books?
No, I don't believe I'm familiar with who you're speaking of.
My immediate advice would be to watch his teachings on anxiety and a number of things. He was a Zen master who just recently passed away about 50 days ago, but
Oh. Okay. What's their name? If you could repeat that for me.
it's Thich Nhat Hanh. It's THICHNAHT. And if you put that in, you'll probably get there. You can also find them by looking up Plum Village, which was their monastery. And they
Okay.
still do teachings. Other monks there still do teachings and stuff.
Okay.
He's
Hey! This looks so much
Okay.
better. Thank you.
I have question.
Thank you for that.
Utsep, it's Comrade's question first. So if you wanted to grab a cushion, I can answer your question afterwards.
Every day is it open? Every day is open.
Can I answer his question first, please? Great. So the main part of your question I heard is, are there helpful mental frameworks? And definitely can share some of them. But The reason I'm more excited about this question is because I had a lot of anxiety. I had been teased a lot. I'd never really been taught how to socialize or what good friendship was like. And so I'm going to answer more all the things that helped me, share some of the frameworks or mental approaches that came along with that. So,
Okay.
as many of you know, I wanted to know how we could use our minds better for life. How are we meant to be? And I became very excited to explore what are the things we can do with our minds to make things awesome. And within a short space of time, I discovered mindfulness meditation and guided relaxation techniques and hypnosis and positive thinking, training yourself with who you want to be. So every day I was listening to guided relaxations, the ones where you relax each part of your body, or you tense up and then relax, or you count down to somehow that just makes your mind go into deep peace. So every day I was practicing these feelings, either to go to sleep to, or as just a nice experience to have during the day. And my body learned what it's like to really let go. And my mind, emotions learned this beautiful, peaceful feeling. So that's super helpful, just knowing really relaxation. I also really disliked the way people treated me and how I felt about people. And so I wanted to feel good around people and have friends and be popular. And so one of my positive thoughts was, I love people and people love me. I connect well with people and feel great around people. And so every morning while I was jogging, I'd say that to myself and imagine feeling great and there just being love and care everywhere. I would do love and kindness meditation and cultivate a feeling that everybody cares about everybody. And you do that every day for a month, and the kind of love you can make is amazing. So I want to put my answer in the context of all of those. You practicing all kinds of beautiful, strong feelings is great. Now, in regards to the framework and different thoughts, ways of thinking about things that were helpful, one thing I definitely noticed is that when I was feeling awkward, I was like, oh, what are people thinking of me? How are they judging me? And I stopped and I was like, hey, when I go into a group of people, how much do I judge people? Like, maybe a little bit. But it's definitely not like the main thing I'm doing. I'm more worried, like, what are people going to think about me? And I realized everybody's doing the same thing. And they're too busy thinking about themselves or what they're going to say next to think about me. So then what? I guess what I want to do is like listen and learn about people and ask questions that make it easier for them, or say things that make it nicer for them. And when I'm thinking about comfort and ease, then I'm making comfort and ease for other people. That was very helpful for me. Another thing that was really helpful for me was to think of the people where I am comfortable with them. There was a couple of people where I could just say what I wanted, and I'd meditate on what that felt like. And then I'd meditate on my other friends that were okay, and I'd imagine how good it would feel if I felt totally okay with them. And then I'd imagine my other more okay friends, and I'd imagine how good it would feel if I felt totally okay with them. could just express whatever I wanted. I could say whatever I felt, and I could make things more fun with everybody. And then you can see bit by bit, I then imagined feeling okay and great everywhere. This one's not so much a framework, but you could imagine yourself as someone who loves to bring positivity and energy, and like instead of rehearsing yourself in the model that you have in socializing, come up with something different. What if you think of yourself as an agent of awesomeness, and wherever you go, you bring awesomeness out of everybody? If you're thinking from that spot, you're just going to come up with different feelings, different ways of being. Other mental models and frameworks for how to think about things is if someone is mean or judgmental, they're probably going through something hard, or maybe it's not a very nice habit for them. So being able to respond confidently with kindness or clarity is not only beautiful for you to be able to just see their behavior as a trigger for power and confidence, it's beautiful for them and for everybody else who sees your response and otherwise wouldn't have known how else to respond. It's been a while since I think about these frameworks. As I meditated each day on great friendships and me feeling great in social situations, many different changes of mind happened. I don't really think about them anymore. They're kind of automatic. So I'm kind of fishing for what are some of those mental changes that arose. But I definitely want to emphasize for everybody, spend time in peace and imagine yourself feeling great in people, and you might automatically think of different ways to think about socializing. Come up with some awesome positive thoughts. You know, I love everybody, everybody loves me. I feel great around people. I love to ask people about what's important and connect in ways that are great. I have wonderful ways to talk to people, and I make conversations fun and exhilarating. Spend time in these positive thoughts, saying them and thinking them and feeling them, and your mind will automatically change your old models into models that work better and come up with different ways of thinking that are more empowering and more fun and more positive for everybody. I'm just going to take a few breaths to think of some of the other more helpful models. And I invite everybody, think of ways that you think about socializing. And if you think of a way that doesn't feel great, maybe think how you'd like to turn it around. Or maybe you have ways to think about socializing that do feel great that perhaps you'd like to share. So I'm just going to take a few breaths to dig within and invite everybody else to meditate on it too. Okay, so 3 things came to mind for me. The first one, as I started to meditate on it, was, hey, in this world, there's so much confusion, people going through stuff, judging themselves, so much unenlightened behavior. And I just felt this love, like, hey, the world needs comfort and care and love and insight. And if you just carry that torch of, hey, I want to bring ease for other people or kindness, if you just let that drive you, everybody needs it. Just let that love just shine out wherever you go. The second thing that came to mind is the idea that in every interaction I have, I find ways to make the other person feel cared for, to hear them. And people love it when people care about them, and I want to let them know I care about them. And then the third thing that came to mind as I was meditating on that was, well, I could say any other kind of motivation or perspective, but like, what do you want to get out of conversations? Do you want to have a laugh and have fun? Do you want to hear people's life purpose? Do you want to inspire them to be enlightened? Do you want to make people want to make films together or do projects together? Like, what do you want to get out of socializing? And so I'd invite you to think about like what kinds of interactions you want to have, and then meditate on that. What are the ideas and approaches you'd have that will create the culture and the life you want? And then to wrap up everything I just said, all those suggestions in a bow and give it to you, is all of those things, let it be driven by you feeling good. Imagine peace and comfort and how nice it feels to choose the good feelings. Whatever it is you decide of those things, imagine feeling good with people, and imagine how good it feels to feel good. Let your focus be on that. Just all of it is you practicing, training, feeling great. Give yourself that gift. Hopefully every day, give yourself a bit of time to practice feeling great.
Okay, thank you. That was very helpful, actually. Yes, I will meditate and set my intentions and hopefully manifest over a period of time to lessen my anxiety. Thank you.
I would like to put the idea in your mind that when you think about it, instead of thinking of it over time, while you're imagining, let yourself imagine, what if right now I was completely comfortable and happy? Like, what do I really want to practice? And yes, don't have expectations of how fast it will happen. Don't expect how quickly or what it's going to do. But while you're thinking about it and while you're practicing it, let yourself practice what you really want. Also, when you think about it, if you're thinking of lessening anxiety, probably the best you're going to get is less anxiety. And what I would love for you is to have real comfort and real joy, like anxiety not even being on the map anymore. So as you think about it, I invite you to think about the practice of you really feeling good in any situation.
Okay.
Can we all take a moment? Can I see a wave? Does everybody have at least one family member or friend that when you talk to them, it's really okay? You're really comfortable and happy talking to them? Most of you waved. Those of you who didn't, in the little meditation I'm about to guide, I just want you to think of the people that you're most comfortable with. So everybody, close your eyes and imagine that you're with the friends or family members that you just feel really good with. And it might take 10 breaths of imagining they're there before you start to remember the comfort and how it feels to have fun or to laugh or just express yourself. And then take a few more breaths and imagine feeling that much more. A real feeling of ease and joy. Think about how you care about them so you can infuse some feeling of love and kindness. And now it is true that if you focus on this good feeling all day long, you would feel this good, and the good feeling would keep getting better. So imagine focusing on this good feeling a lot until it just expands through to everywhere that it needs to. And imagine how good it would feel if a few weeks from now you're talking to some people that maybe you felt not so good before, and you're talking to them and then you just notice, oh wow, I'm feeling really good right now. Imagine how good that would feel. Yeah, and let that idea carry you and put a smile on your face. And those of you who want to, you're doing mental engineering right now. There's no limit really to how far you can take it. So you could let yourself imagine how vibrant you'd like to be. Or maybe you'd like to have giggles often that bring joy to people. Or maybe you want to imagine a body language that makes people feel amazing. Or if I stretched it too far, you can just go back to feeling comfortable. Just let yourself imagine whatever you feel inspired to imagine right now. And we'll take 5 more deep breaths together. And just one last little idea. You could have imagined or felt anything just now. And what we practice is what we get. So just give yourself the idea, I'm trying to free my mind. Any limitations I put on myself, I want to notice them. I want to be aware of them and step around them. And I give myself that gift of comfort, ease, caring. And I give it as a gift to everybody. So I think it's time for our next topic, next question. Yeah. Does anybody else have something they'd like to ask or share? Solarpunk.
Yeah, just a statement. I thought it would be really nice if we had a object in VR chat that was a torch of love and human happiness, like you described, so people could sort of pass it around and hold it, and it would like glow and have little hearts coming out of it. And then as people go through their actual real life, they could sort of imagine holding that little invisible torch in one hand. Seems like it would be fun.
That is a great idea.
That's a lovely
That's
thought.
nice.
I love it.
Is anybody here one of the people who works on this world? Let's mention it in the Discord. Maybe the engineers of this world could have that as one of the objects around. And while you're holding it, it glows. And when you let go, it stops glowing. It reminds us we
that's
have
great.
to hold it. Cool. All right. Well, Seb, I think I said your question was next. Did you want to ask something?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome to grab a cushion and join in with everybody. Does anyone else have something they would like to ask or say? I kind of feel like we should describe what torch was like. For some reason I'm imagining like a blue flame, but the way the flames roll, you can kind of see cool things happening inside of it. Maybe a little love heart
Now,
emojis
Jax.
coming. Yes, what's up?
The code QR for opening the Discord. For
Yes.
joining the Discord.
Just outside the
okay,
door
okay.
is a poster that has the Discord link. And for those of you who are on the live stream, wait, does anybody here know how someone can just look up the Discord? Actually, I made a link. I think it was bit.ly, so like bit.ly/Samgha, Samgha. Yeah, that would take you to the Discord. So Sangha is a Buddhist word for a community that helps each other. And in some groups, instead of saying Sangha, they say Samgha. And the Zenki who
Or
started this...
Sangha.
Yeah, so Zenki who started this group wanted to use the spelling with an M. So Samkha. So bit.ly/SAMGHA will take you to the Discord if anybody out there would like to join. There's hundreds of people sharing activity, inspiration. We share when these events are happening. Many of you will notice that my classes, I try to be very precise around which thoughts are helpful and exactly what are the impacts of each aspect of the thought. The community isn't so strict about that. I don't know if I'd put my stamp of approval on every single post, but it's quite a nice community, and it's also great to be reminded of when we're having these events. Let me just check if anyone's written on the live stream. Nope. Oh, so if any of you are out there on the live stream and would like to ask or share something, please. I'm checking. Oh, I noticed our Facebook stream hasn't happened. I'll try to fix that for the next time. All right. So I shared what I imagined when you said the torch. Solarpunk, what were you imagining, or what would other people imagine?
Well, first of all, the torch you started to describe sort of sounded like the torch of human awesomeness. Wasn't that your other main anti-anxiety focus? Is entering a space with awesomeness where you feel you can bring out the awesomeness in other people?
So what would it look like? Perhaps each person you go
Well,
to,
it's
it
gotta
like
be a
sends them
beautiful-
beams.
Yeah, you could have anything from like the classic gold ornate torch with like just like a sort of a prismatic rainbow. Have you seen those double rainbows where you have like double rings of rainbows sort of extending outwards like a camera? What do you call that? Like a lens flare, sort of shining outwards, sort of a slightly invisible halo, a double halo around that. And then you have like your glowing, sparkling flame in the middle, sort of a golden flame with little sparkles coming off of it, depending upon whether
My
you want
name
hearts
in
or
the
just like
Discord
different colors.
is Yutsip.
Great, we'll see you there. Hey, Yutsep, we're still
Thank you,
having our
Yutsi.
meeting.
See you there.
It's Solarpunk's turn right now.
And
And it's
so
Please.
yeah,
but
you could have you could have rotating you could have like rotating circles with like really cool just sort of cool designs, sort of concentrically rotating within each other. They're as you're holding up a torch. And then of course the cyberpunk version of that, you could have something that looks like a lightsaber that creates like cool prismatic effects and beams and lasers that sort of shoot upwards out of it. And you could also use it as a laser pointer.
That's cool.
Solarpunk, are you a 3D designer? I feel like you should work with the team to make this torch in the world.
He is. Have you seen his
Oh, that's my
profile?
goal.
No, I haven't.
I'm working
All right.
at it.
Let's all
So far,
take a
I've only
moment.
designed the clothing for my jackal.
Let's all take a moment, and I want
You
you
did
to
a great job,
imagine
dude.
you're in a social circumstance, and in your imagination, you just hold up this epic torch from all the different ideas you had heard or any that you had, and you just hold that up, and it makes your heart shine, and it brings that awesomeness to everybody.
like Lady Liberty.
And you pass that torch out to everyone in the world.
Maybe with little bubbles of glowing light coming out of it.
Yeah. So, I have found sometimes metaphor meditations touch us in a way that's great. Like some of you may have joined me for the mountain meditation, where you just imagine being this unshakable mountain, or we practice being that lake of peace. And maybe holding this torch of awesomeness might be something you can imagine in social circumstances that just kicks your imagination into feeling awesome. Some groups will do these metaphor meditations and believe in them. In my understanding, they just trigger our imagination to make the positive feelings. So I like to think of the core of how I understand just training our mind is what you practice is what you get. And so I see these metaphors through that lens. Sometimes these metaphors make us practice awesome feelings. Just wanted to clarify that, because the way we think about steering our mind really empowers how good we are at it. So yes, we carry that torch. Again, everybody, I'm sorry about the lag that I've been getting on this session. I hope I'll have it better
It's
next
okay.
time. All right, I feel it's time for our next question or comment. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share or to ask? Fluffy puppy.
Hey. You know, the part where we had gotten to like to our loved ones, it actually made me remember my grandmother and my other grandmother who had passed away like a couple months ago. And you know, this thing about my grandmother, she's from my father's side of the family. She was quite a soul that I couldn't really tell about, but she was quite the character. She was someone who would share something. She would love to be with people. She would love to be this person who was just independent. She didn't want people to take care of her. And after her passing, it was one morning where me and my family had went outside and saw a whole bunch of cardinals sitting on this tree in the backyard. And we knew like her spirit or an ancestor's spirit came to visit us and make sure that we were in good health and okay. And after her passing, it felt like she was still there. It felt like she was still there, and it was beautiful. Those cardinals, it was like the symbolism of...
Was it two red cardinals
that-
or a red and a gray cardinal?
There was a bunch of cardinals.
Oh wow, those you don't see those together normally because red cardinals usually battle each other.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, it was
Oh,
like...
I thought
I
a
know she's
cardinal was
gone.
something from the church, but you're talking
Sorry, I
about
wanna
the
go.
bird.
Bye.
Okay, bye, Utsep.
Bye.
Yeah, no.
See you next time. We're talking
Goodbye.
about a kind of
A
bird.
wonderful one.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, but...
I'm glad we clarified. Thanks,
My
Oliver.
grandmother... One of my grandmothers had told me that cardinals were not actually even said in the Bible, but they are like taken as something as Christianity. But it is beautiful when they are coming to aid us, like coming to tell us that things will be okay. They're coming to check on us, and these cardinals coming to tell us it's going to be okay makes me feel like she's not gone. She's always there. And that makes me feel really good. And I believe in the afterlife.
That's
So,
sweet.
as many
Just
of you
to
know,
have something like comforts you like that.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about cardinals and my grandmother. My family believes that.
no, really?
I'm very agnostic with these things, but yeah.
I've never heard this before, and that you two sitting next to each other both have that idea in your family. That's quite beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It is really beautiful.
I
So
watched
as
a
many of
video
you know,
not too many weeks ago about that as well.
really?
Yeah, about things after people die. One of the common things they see are birds. The Greeks and the Romans called the birds the messengers of the spirit world because it seemed so often that when somebody was feeling a presence of their family member who had just died, there would a bird would come up, and an unusual bird, or do something unusual and perch nearby or stay in the same branch for several days, as like a sign from the spirit world.
It's interesting.
So one thing, as many of you know, I try to be very careful around what is true, especially if someone's very skeptical. I don't want them to think this group says people have to believe in afterlife or believe in signs. So I'm not going to comment on that. But one thing I know is definitely true is that your grandmother is still with you. You think of her. You tell beautiful stories that touch our hearts of her.
Yeah.
Every time you talk with your family about her, or even when you're not thinking of her, there's habits you've picked up on her. The independence that you have, the drive, the certain ways that you act. She's a part of you.
Yeah.
And she's with you forever. And whether or not signs are true, the fact that there can be these beautiful moments that inspire us or give us hope, that is true. Different people may see these different moments from different things. And shaping our way of seeing the world, that more things bring us peace, more things bring us inspiration, that we see beauty in more moments, I think that's a wonderful thing. And if for the rest of your life, when you see red cardinals, if it reminds you of love and hope, beautiful. One thing I hope as a culture we're careful not to make some signs mean certain things. Sometimes believing in signs can actually be distracting or harmful. We need to be careful. I've definitely met some people who go really into the idea of reading signs, and it very much takes their life in strange directions. So I guess when I hear both of your stories, I try to see it from the skeptical eyes of like how you're comforted and how you remember them and how you love them and how moments in nature can inspire love and beauty in you. And that's what I want to share and take away from it. Fluffy Puffy, I hope that me trying to see that through the lens of what can I confidently share with everybody is also affirming for you. As I said, I don't want anyone to have to believe something to be here. I want us to always be able to find the beauty in what anyone says in a way that doesn't imply what anyone else needs to believe. And I hope my skeptical lens doesn't take away from all what you believe. Just know that I'll put that on what anyone says to try and find what we can all share.
And now we can pass around the torch of human awesomeness and love. Obligatory passing of the torch of love.
Solarpunk, I think we really need to actually make that a VR asset here in this world.
Absolutely.
I need these signifiers. They're very nice and good. I like. I feel the same way about these signifiers people have. You know, if anything, it's just a good way to bring up positive emotions and feelings within yourself.
I'm gonna be a bit vulnerable right now, and you know, I talked about how I meditate every day, and then when I first discovered meditation, I would meditate sometimes 4 hours a day, and I'd listen to hypnosis every night, and I'd be positive thinking many times a day for like half an hour to an hour in each block, and 100%. That was great. The ways it transformed me was wonderful. But not only did I go all in on that, I started to think, wow, mind power is so much more amazing than I had ever known. So I started to think that spiritual, mystical things may also be true. And so I went all in on that. And we've lost Fluffy Puppy. She just left. I hope it wasn't because of my skepticism about what she was saying. But I found as I went all in on mystical things, it's very easy to start believing in things when you're too open. I read a book about signs, and I had some time where I went and I lost my friends, and I followed some signs and found my friends. And then I started to see signs everywhere. And it's made so much of my mental time go into just reading nonsense around me. And then to try and explain when it didn't work, it just led to more and more absurdity until I realized that this is just wrong. And, you know, when I hear her hurting about her grandma, and I'm remembering my spiritual self, when you've meditated a lot, your mind can do wild things. And I can imagine her grandmother telling her how proud she is of her. And one part of me could think, well, actually, I'm getting a message from her grandmother. But none of us can ever know whether that's true. And the neuroscientists, medical physicists, will be certain that's false. It's just my imagination. And you'll see, always I try to remind us to connect with what we can be sure is correct and have that as our foundation. Because if we're far away from the things we are certain of, the imagination can just take us to all kinds of different dimensions and crystal powers. And, you know, the world needs us to be real. The world needs us to... we need to be careful not to be
to be a refuge?
Yeah, a refuge of truth and goodness that can be shared with everybody. You know, if our torch of goodness has in it that every time you see cardinals, it's spirits from another world, only some people can carry that torch. It has to be a torch that everybody can carry. And for people who do believe it, they should also be able to carry the torch. It's a torch of goodness for everyone, no matter what you believe. And we need to be careful. I hope I didn't upset Fluffy Puppy by saying I'm not sure if that's true. We need to be able to be careful to create a community where we can all care for each other and inspire one another. and be able to be able to question each other's beliefs in a way that is still caring, so that we can all still be together. Fluffy Puppy, if you're watching this on the live stream, or if you watch this sometime in the future, I hope you know that we all deeply care about you, and we, if I question you, perhaps questioning the cardinals might question her feeling about it. Whenever we question people's spiritual beliefs, I think ultimately it's beneficial for humanity to be able to be truly, completely based in reality, and for us to be fully empowered in how we think about people and one another. But sometimes people believe all kinds of things that aren't true, but perhaps they help them at the moment. So finding how to bring those helpful things into our shared culture is an important work for us to do, to unite humanity and to be able to share lovingly together. I had a friend who already left by the time the cardinal story was shared. But I know if that story was shared and I hadn't clarified it, he would have thought, this group's delusional, I don't want to come anymore. And so we have this delicate journey around spirituality of how do we create this place where everybody is welcome and it's helpful for everybody, and we can be grounded, focused on reality, and also allow people to think other things, but not necessarily imply that we all have to believe what everybody believes. The things I think we should all believe is the stuff that we know is true. Right now we're in VR. Some of you may believe this is all a dream or a fantasy, but I'm pretty sure almost all of us believe that you're there sitting in your room, you're in your body, you're in your VR set, and we can all see that there's a bell here. Like, the things we know for sure that we can share. Yes, I hope we can have that shared belief. And that within the things that we definitely share, we can be enlightened and amazing. Solarpunk?
The Buddha, before he spoke each of his suttas, he would give like a whole page of Indian logic disclaimer as to what he was about to talk about and what he was not talking about. And then after his teaching, after his sutta, then he would go into another final page of Indian disclaimer logic where he'd explain what he had just taught and what he had not just taught. And it makes me wonder if there's like a clever sort of little bit of Indian logic disclaimer we could provide before and after somebody brings up a supernatural concept or story, for example. That would just sort of like comfort and make people feel more even kilter and not required to believe anything specifically, just sort of balance everything out. I wonder if that's possible.
So, of all the different Buddhist communities I've spent time with, I've never seen or heard anybody mention that. So I would love you to share some of those with me for me to see, or to share them in the Discord.
Yeah, it should be throughout the Dhammapada and the middle-length discourses of the Buddha. So there's from some primary books of the Tripitaka. Definitely.
So I've read the Dhammapada, but I didn't notice those logical discord sections. So perhaps whoever presented it to you was a very insightful, helpful way to present it.
Yeah, that could have been it too.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing, and I hope as a community we can find the ways to be founded upon logic and rationality, and support and comfort everybody. If anybody is connected with Fluffy Puppy on Discord or social media, maybe someone wants to send her a message and let her know that we care about her and we know she left and that we care. Right. Let me check the time. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Kay Farwell, was that a hand? No? Friendly Nick, I noticed you reached out to me with your excitement for this community. I'd love to hear what's on your mind. Any question or thoughts you have that you'd like to share? Nothing comes to mind.
Well,
right
maybe
now.
Nick's audio is not on right now.
Or was that a sign saying no, nothing now?
Friendly Nick, if you're speaking, your microphone might be on mute right now.
I'm going to assume you want to be quiet, but if you did, please fix the mic and we'll be here when you're ready. Would anyone else like to ask something, or perhaps you've had time to think about what we've talked about tonight and have a thought or a comment? Creek, I'm going to put you on the spot. Oh, you've raised your hand?
Who, me?
No, Creek is sitting behind you.
Oh. Oh.
Maybe Creek's audio is also on mute right now. Different microphone. or
Hello?
something.
Can
Hey,
you
we
hear
can
me?
There you are.
hear you
There you
now. Welcome.
Yes. Hello. I apologize if my mic is a little weird. Not the headset today. If you had a specific question, NeoJax, I don't mind answering. Otherwise, I have a specific question or topic I'd like to speak about.
Oh, I was asking if there's anything you would like to ask. But yeah, if you've got something you'd like to speak about, please,
Perfect.
yes, yeah.
So, I had reached out in the coordination chat, and you kind of covered it within the past 10 or so minutes. This idea mine is more broader about this idea of teaching. I've been struggling isn't the best word, but I've definitely been sitting on the fence when it comes to how I approach teaching, maybe even broader, how I approach offering more guided versions of wisdom as opposed to just living it. It's different when somebody asks for advice. And where I'm fence sitting is I'm unsure how to do it. So earlier we had the example of sharing skepticism to help widen somebody's view, deepen their peace eventually in their practice. But we can't know where someone's heart is exactly. So I'm trying to find a way to everything that I say, all the advice that I give is always peaceful, never discursive. It seems like a really lofty goal, and I'm not sure if it's a wise goal. perhaps it's just better to take things as they are. So anyways, I've spoken a lot. What are your ideas?
I think the goal to make all conversations in a way that's not discursive is a great goal. Certainly, if someone believes something that's harmful or false, talking to them about it in a way that's more inviting is better than being abrupt. Well, with a disclaimer, sometimes some people actually will be more challenged or transformed in a way that's abrupt. I guess ultimately the term skillful means is what comes to mind. If you could see and understand every outcome of what you're going to say, the most skillful way to get to the best outcome would be what I would suggest. But do we know the outcome of everything we're going to say? No. How can we get to that skillful means? There's practice and learning from one another, learning from wisdom, learning from your own experiences. Is what I just said about the cardinals, did I say it in a way that was loving and awesome? I guess not. I am not comfortable in people thinking that this group believes things like that. Maybe someone here that may not have believed in signs might have then started to believe in signs, and I am not comfortable feeling responsible that I would have allowed that to happen. So I in the framework that I've facilitating here, it's important for me to be clear about what I have. It's hurt me having these beliefs, and being founded in evidence is the community that we're creating. So it's important for me to clarify that. But did I do that in the way that was most skillful and lovely for her? I now see that I didn't. I was trying to be careful. I think if I had to do it again, it would still be as important for me to make sure that no one would take on a belief. And some people would be like, hey, believing in something like that's harmless. But it harmed me. And false beliefs will always lead to more harm. So for me, that's very important. But practicing how to do it in a way that's as loving and caring as possible, I still need to improve. Solarpunk, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I wonder if the answer could actually be found in the middle-length discourses in the Buddha Sutta on the 4 types of wrong speech. There might be a skillful means in which to even bring up that the Buddha himself trying to protect his community. Told them that it was best to only to share only certain beliefs among each other, but not with, say, the lay people or with outsiders who may have different spiritual or supernatural views. I've mentioned before that when the Buddha says that the one of the 4 types of wrong speech is speaking of supernatural things like gods and ghosts and other things that cannot be proven, that is not directly observable to be proven to be true in the here and now by the wise. But he has a whole sutta on it, so it makes me wonder if there's some skillful language in there that one could use in like just a really loving, awesome tone to say, well, the Buddha wanted to protect his community, so he said, so just so everybody knows, these are subjects like these are subjects the Buddha would caution his sangha about, and caution lay people about in general, depending upon who they're speaking to, as it's not something that wisdom we don't gain practical wisdom from talking about the supernatural, while the supernatural can still be very comforting to those who are interested in the supernatural. But so maybe if I come across that soon, I could go over the language in that particular sutta on the 4 types of wrong speech and see if there's some clever wording in there that we could use.
Yes, please. But to go back to Creek's question more in general, in our day-to-day life, where do we fit in teaching versus just hanging out versus living the goodness versus talking about it. For me, I've been thinking, how can I create more contexts where it's very important for me, enlightenment for all beings. I hope it's very important for many of us. And that's really what I want to make of my social interactions. So I'm trying to create more of those contexts. Classes like this, having a meditation or positive thinking session. In real life, I was running more seminars and inviting people to workshops. I found for most people, when it's in a context where, hey, right now we're intentionally practicing goodness, they'll pay so much more attention than if you're just talking about it in passing conversation. For years, I would say to people, hey, try to practice cool ways to just talk about it in passing conversations. How do you spread enlightenment in a way that's funny, in a way that's easy and inviting? And yeah, I think we should always do that. Try to think about how to talk about things in a way that is just insightful when people hear your perspective. Comrade Buddha?
Just saying that right there
Is he
is a good
lagging
example.
for anybody else? I can't hear him.
I'm able to hear him just fine right now.
Okay, then that's
But
Comrade
yeah,
Akin.
Neo, that's just what you're saying right now is really excellent. Just that's a good reiteration, a good little piece of Indian logic, right? That it sort of plants a positive, loving seed in everyone's mind.
Comrade, does that fix it? I don't know if maybe Comrade can hear you but not me, but Solarpunk, maybe you tell him that we can all...
Comrade Buddha, are you able to hear NeoJax now? I'm able to hear him just fine.
Can other people hear me okay? Can I see a wave if it sounds clear?
Or it's possible. It's possible Comrade might not be able to hear me though as well, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they can hear any of
Buddha.
us at all.
Buddha! We're all calling to the
maybe-
Buddha.
Oh, Discord, I have him on here.
Yeah, let him know maybe to just like respawn the world or something. So Creek. Yes, when people ask, it's great. So you could, if you wanted to, you could ask yourself, what are ways to make more opportunities for them to ask? Perhaps explicitly saying, hey, I've learned things that are great and I love to share them. If you're ever interested, please ask.
It might be me.
Yeah. Yeah. You may want to put on contexts and say to your friends, hey, I'm going to do this workshop. I'd love to invite you all. You may like to have some friends where you choose not to do any of that and you're just engaging with them entirely in the way that they are, and that's okay. Your kind, loving self will spread kindness and loveliness naturally. I can't tell you what your motivation and drive should be with different people. So ultimately, I think you should ask yourself, what do you want to do in your life? And which kinds of friendships and impacts you want to have? And I know you, and if there's some part of you that thinks, oh, I should be more, please let that go. What do you actually want? And design that. If there is some part of you that really thinks you should be more, please drop the should and meditate on it and find any way that you can love it and it drives you beautifully. But design around what you actually want at the moment. And create the kinds of loving friendships and interactions that you'll enjoy. Meditate on compassion with the people in your life, and while holding them as much as you can in them, while holding them in your consciousness, design the way you want to be with them, that they will love.
Neo, can you say the last two sentences you just spoke? They chopped up too much for me to hear.
Okay, I was saying to hold the other person in mind and see them for who they really are. You know, you may have a friend or family member and you think, oh, talking about Dharma is the best. And they might completely be turned off by that word or some of those ideas. So holding them in mind and seeing them for who they are, and then relating to that person as they are, is what I was suggesting.
Knowing the time and place to speak.
There may never
What is
be a
welcome
time
or
to
unwelcome.
talk Dharma with that person. Maybe just loving them and laughing with them or hearing their stories may be the best thing you can ever give them. Creek, I'd love to hear your response or clarifying questions or anything in response to what I just said.
Okay, well, thank you for responding, and absolutely perfect advice to say that if there's anything in the mind that contains a should or an ought to drop the should and the ought to. Wonderful advice. And on allowing oneself to speak Dharma within a context, or cultivating context to speak Dharma, to kind of help others listen deeper or make the words more impactful is also very wise. Thank you.
I wanted to say to
As
anyone
well
who
as
to anyone who doesn't know what the word Dharma is, it's just a word that means goodness. So different places might define it more precisely, but learning about our mind or cultivating kindness is what generally we mean by Dharma. Teachings that help us. Sorry, Creek, I just wanted to make sure people could follow what we were saying.
Thank you. Thank you. It's perfect.
Yeah, also in the Thai tradition, Dhamma means truth.
Speaking truth.
Yes.
Creek, please.
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you guys. And also enjoyed the advice of compassion meditation with the eye of people as they are. It's wonderful advice as well, and something I'm excited to do more of. It does help me in ways that my subconscious, intuitive mind is unraveling the advice more in a context of teaching within the temple. This is more of a secondary question, so thank you for all the advice for the first one. Secondary question would be, teaching with the curriculum has shown me the difficulties of having brand new students along with students who have studied a long time. In what ways do you navigate the space of allowing both opportunities for newbies to explore ideas as much as I think is good and helpful, as well as cultivating a space that challenges and props up those who have wonderful practice? What do you think about that?
So I wish I was better at this. What I have been trying to do is I try to make every class friendly to beginners. And constantly drop in things that would be helpful for even the most advanced person. For example, breathing to focus on our breath. If my next statement is perfect equanimity, an unshakable mind that is bigger than anything life could ever throw at us. So when we focus on our breath, we learn how to concentrate on it, and we bring our mind into this focused self. I hope that an advanced student would take that little gem that I dropped and run with it. I also hope that these gems that I drop can inspire and guide the imagination of the beginner. I need to get more feedback from more advanced practitioners, how to make those gems capture their imagination enough, or how to make it more compelling for the people who are more advanced. So I think some of them will hear me doing the beginner classes again and again. And that's something I'd love all of you to help me with, how to make it always inviting, but also super insightful. You know, there's a saying from I don't remember which monk it was, but it's better to have meditated a lifetime on one verse than to have read all the verses. And so I'd hope that in each class, the enlightening gems that I put out, that there's enough of them that someone could easily meditate on them for a week and still only have reached a little point of what they can become. But yeah, I guess I need to get better at really emphasizing those gems the way that the advanced practitioner can hold them and read them. Perhaps we also need to have classes where it's explicitly said, these classes expect you to know so that we're able to keep spending time on the basics. However, I've found for myself, continually reminding myself of the basics makes them stronger and more precise every time. 25 years of talking about mindfulness meditation, every time I'm being mindful, I feel like I'm learning more about it. So, how can we make the basics more exciting to advanced practitioners to continue to want to hear them? I feel like I'm giving us more questions than answers, but they're important questions. As a community, I hope we can develop styles that are good for more and more people. I remember going to a yoga class and being lined up outside and asking the people in front of me, "How's this class?" And they looked at me and they just laughed. They're like, "It's wild. It's so intense. It's so good. But you won't be able to do it. But don't worry. Just try. And you'll be amazed in no time what you'll be doing." And I remember being in the class, flips and handstands, and like just laughing. Like there's no way I can keep doing this. But I just kept trying, just like the people had told me, and kind of just laughing at the absurdity of what the other people were doing. But 3 weeks later, I was doing unbelievably incredibly good thing. Something about just running with the class, just lifting me up. So perhaps we should have more of these kind of disclaimers for the beginners. Like, hey, we're going to say wild things. And just try and follow along, and you'll be amazed at where it might take you. Maybe we should have more images and graphics captivate and engage people's minds in different ways to see the steps of where mental maybe people should have their own checklist of things they've been motivated. They can see where they've got more ticks and where, oh, I definitely haven't learned as much compassion as I could have, or my ability to transform my beliefs about myself. I've only just begun that. Or like for people to be able to see the things that they can learn in this community and be aware of where to get more out of each class. So they're my thoughts in response to what you asked. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Some of you as teachers, some of you as people who've been attending. Yeah, Solar Punk?
Yeah, I was curious. On one hand, I was going to compliment you on just your excellent beginner class style, even without going over any particular suttas or books or the Mind Illuminated or any sources. The information you're giving here is always relevant and wonderful, and techniques for mentally reframing things. Now, on another thing that was possible, and maybe this doesn't really apply to you, but I was curious if at some point you were thinking of reading through reading through the Buddha's own words on something like the middle-length discourses, which I found much more helpful than the Dhammapada. Have you started yet on the middle-length discourses? The Majjhima Nikaya?
I don't think I've read them, no. Creek mentioned
Oh, okay,
reading
it's
through
my
the
favorite out of the...
Creek mentioned reading through the handbook. In this community, we've been finding a book that wasn't actually writings from the Buddha. Reading stuff directly from the words of the Buddha could be great, and responding, exploring that could be great. Yes,
I want to go to the next warp. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good
Solar
one.
Punk, you may have noticed that for me, I want to not have Buddhist classes. I try to do wisdom. If Buddha was a philosopher,
Yeah,
like
actually, I was
if
going
Buddha
to
was a
complete the
Kant
thought.
or someone else who hadn't been religiousified, I'd be totally fine mentioning them more. If someone comes in and, I mean, maybe they're not comfortable if they're a hardcore atheist or some other religion, but I definitely want these classes to be awesome for everybody. I think Buddha also wanted his teachings to just be helpful to everybody. And the fact that it became...
Yes, and that was actually a major point. And where I was actually going with the question was, I was thinking, there's so many amazing things I've come across in the middle-length discourses. You can, and I often do speak them to friends or atheists or hard skeptics, and they really appreciate the wisdom. I'm just careful not to mention the source when I bring up these bits of wisdom. So there is just so much information contained in the middle-length discourse that applies to everything, everyday life. And you, as long as you don't mention the source, no one would have any idea where it came from, other than just like simple wisdom philosophy or a fortune cookie.
That's a great suggestion. Perhaps reading that and other great works might enrich this group. Some people respond very differently to
Yeah, like a little
hearing...
nugget here and there.
some people respond very differently to written words than to conversation. So perhaps us finding different readings enriched classes.
Yeah, I really like your style, though. As I was saying, I was thinking if there was anything that would ever change, and I'm not saying it needs to be, because your style is still awesome as it is. I could imagine you doing your usual type of class as you do here each session, but occasionally just sprinkling in a little piece of wisdom that people don't know where it came from, but it could have, say, come from the middle-length discourses or some other, or the longer discourses of the Buddha, for example. And it would be timeless wisdom that is relevant always and everywhere, and without needing to be named of the source. And you just drop a nugget, and then you just move on, just back to your normal standard of telling people, how to approach yapping dogs or mushrooms or whatever is on people's minds, and your awesome way of realizing that for people. And that's what I wanted to say.
But I know that to reach everybody in the world, we need many different styles and formats. So
absolutely,
reading something, perhaps
the more universal, the better.
Yeah, perhaps we should do different places. We've been given titles. Maybe when we read their things, we should just use their name. If I was reading something from Gandhi, instead of saying Gandhi or Mahatma, maybe say, hey, here's a reading from Mohandas. Or the same from different
or
Buddhist
Siddhartha.
Just say, here's a man named Siddhartha. Let's read what some of his teachings were.
Yeah, that's what I often do too.
Just to keep it real. Here's a person and their thoughts, and these thoughts might be helpful.
That way it sounds like philosophy and not, religion or something spiritual people have to believe in.
So, Creek, as for the question, I hope that this community definitely has moments where we share amazing things and we uplift and enlighten each other. And I hope that it's always and welcoming to everybody. I hope there are ways for people to apply it to many parts of their life. Welcome, Buddhalicious. I love your username. I hope we can take wisdom and make it delicious for everybody. You're right on time, Buddhalicious. I'm gonna have to. It's such a great username. I just got the nudge that I have to leave in a minute. So we're going to do a closing meditation. And then I'll leave all of you to socialize and discuss. I invite everyone to take that feels great for you right now. Check in with your spine and your muscles in your back, and your shoulders and your legs. Again, the idea of having a posture is great.
Can you say that last sentence again one more time, please?
Just check through with your body and just find posture that's great. Feel through the body. Let each part feel enlightened, inspired, lifted, at ease, full of love, positive. Notice your mind, how you feel, and take some breaths. Bring all your feelings into feeling great, feeling free, feeling at ease, feeling full of love. Imagine every day giving yourself the amount of meditation you easily commit to each day. Just give some time to feel great, to love it. Clarity and peace and strength. And when I think of meditation, it feels good, it feels exciting, it feels inspiring. Imagine if you could just click your fingers and just step into being a person who feels totally humble and expressive everywhere you go. Imagine what this person will feel like. Imagine looking at groups of people and feeling happy, curious and full of love. Maybe you can remember someone you know who's really expressive and has lots of fun in groups. Just imagine how they feel. And imagine if from now on, whenever you communicating or groups or social things, you just, I'm just going to practice what I want. If I notice a feeling or an attitude that's not helpful, I'll think to myself, I'm not going to practice that anymore. Practice peace and ease, feeling great. Imagine carrying the torch of kindness and comfort and caring and awesomeness. And then meditating on a question of teaching, I just invite you to imagine how you'd like to teach. Which ways do you want to bring kindness into your day-to-day, into meditations guide, into talks that you give, into the jokes that you make, the songs that you sing, that you play. How often say wisdom to yourself. When you see a part of yourself that could use more enlightenment, how kindly, how powerfully, how wisely will you give yourself the wisdom that you need? Will you say it in words to yourself? Will you give it yourself in things? How beautiful will the feeling be that you give yourself? Will you give it to yourself in concepts, or in visualization, or in practice? So for the last bit of this meditation, let's just imagine our enlightened, the you that is free. No old habits, no old feelings. They're all gone. In every moment, you're free to choose bliss, happiness, confidence, and that it comes effortlessly and powerfully. Ever aware of your consciousness and just being your most wonderful self. Notice as I said that you felt it for a few seconds and then the mind did somewhere else. So just give it to yourself again. And give yourself the most aware, most wonderful self. Give yourself that ease and freedom and kindness. And in the most empowered, aware way, think of people, feel them. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and look around and feel the love, encouragement and positivity to one another. Grateful for the questions that were asked, comments that were shared, or for those who didn't say anything, grateful to share their present, the shared thoughts that we had. Grateful knowing that there will be future conversations with each other, being able to support and uplift one another. And just feeling that for all of us as a community. How about we just have a little love heart? Appreciating that we came to this place. There's this temple in VR, and inside of yourself there's amazing spaces of infinite peace, unshakable equanimity, pure love, in a way that is inviting and sweet. To give those spaces inside of you the time and the light of every day. You leave, have a little moment with the enlightened being. Make of that what you will. Meet each other out in the plane for our social time. Let's just keep the meditative walk until everybody's out there.